Welcome back to the Grenadier Podcast, Real Estate Uncovered. Today I speak with Jo Abel, the South Island Business Development Manager for Harcourts. You obviously love this business. Tell me what you love the most about it. Today, an absolute exclusive. Welcome back to the Grenadier Podcast, Real Estate Uncovered. Jo, it's great to have you here. Tell us a bit about you and your experience in the real estate industry.
Oh, my experience. So I was trying to work this out. Maths is probably not my strong point. As an auctioneer, you probably pull me up. But I think it's about 17 to 18 years this year in real estate. Yes, so long time. Began really as a favour to the family, which is ironic, isn't it? And haven't left the industry and can't see myself ever doing anything else. So property management, business development, that's sales for majority, and now as the Christchurch Regional Manager for Harcourts New Zealand.
Fantastic. I think you're our first female business manager here in the South Island.
I believe so.
Could you walk us through perhaps a typical day for a real estate consultant, seeing you get to meet so many of us?
I do, and I don't know that there is a typical day because everybody sort of approaches it so differently, and I think that's one of the beauties of our business is that we do have many, many, many different types of people. We have different reasons that people would come to real estate, but what I think is let's focus on a good real estate day.
A model real estate day.
Yes, model real estate day generally would start early, and that would be their own morning routine, however they need to get themselves G'd up for the day. Then they would probably be in at the office before everybody else so they can have that clear time to check their day or reset their day because they probably set it the night before they came in and knew what they had to tick off from their list. They'd be on the phone speaking generally to their current clientele and making sure that these people know everything that happened overnight because our business is, emails through the night and sometimes messages, etc. So there's a really good update in the day. If I was to go through different days of the week, they all look very differently, but I think the morning's the strong start for most people in real estate. Hopefully they get time to eat, drink and sleep and do it all over again.
It's a pretty rigorous career, isn't it?
I think so, and particularly which many of our people are, highly aspirational.
Yes.
So if you're here to make the best of it,
yes,
then really it is.
Yeah.
It is a big climb, and it's something that with the personal growth journey that people go on is actually massive because the biggest part of real estate is actually those personal challenges that come up along the way. Doing the right thing by our people is huge. I can speak to some of our Harcourts values in that, and
yes.
I think they align pretty well with the top agents that we have, being courageous because sometimes you've got to deliver the news that people don't want to hear.
Yes.
And most people assume that's price related, but it's not always. And those sorts of things mean that the salesperson sitting in front of you, they actually have to have thought of all the pathways that are best for you and allow you to embrace that and take that chance to get the sale, don't they?
Yeah, you touch on a great point, and I think that's one of the reasons I was attracted to real estate is that personal growth aspect. In some 9-to-5 jobs that are reasonably clinical, you might not have to do a lot of mental gymnastics or really have to be that self-aware, but in real estate, because there's a lot of highs and lows and you are dealing with people and their biggest asset, you do have to be very self-aware, don't you? And to manage your own mental state and make sure you're sharp and energized, but also can take the knocks.
Well, that was probably the biggest thing I had to overcome personally was at such a young age starting into real estate, and I was a wave of probably what was beginning to be young people into real estate at that time.
How have you seen the industry evolve over time?
Yes, well, the evolution of real estate, it's a really ironic one because I think the key things in real estate actually have not changed. We need to remember how important it is to respect the people in front of us and actually build those relationships, making sure that the decision we make today, we can sleep well tonight.
Beautiful.
And everybody will give us, rate my agent, they'll give us 10 out of 10 and, technology.
Yes.
Technology is just changing and changing and changing and it won't stop, we know that. But technology is probably the biggest impact and change, and that's helped people be more efficient.
Yeah.
It's certainly helped with the knowledge journey, but it's also confused the market, in my opinion. So we see price guides, price estimates. You can pay for a cheap or, you can get an AI sort of generated thing. And I think that's the biggest risk that has actually come into our industry, where unfortunately for real estate agents, we perhaps don't have the same value because people used to initially call us in for price.
Yes.
They no longer feel sometimes they need to, which I think is probably the greatest risk that people could have on weighing up who they work with in their, in their decisions. And,
absolutely. And I think that is critical, isn't it? That people don't just look at a value and think that's what their home's worth, that your home's value's determined by a lot of different aspects, not just some, calculation on a website. And I think as agents, we need to continue that education and let owners know, the different marketing strategies and how we can add value to the transaction.
Yeah, and the value add is quite phenomenal these days. And again, technology's played its part in that because we have so many other marketing methods that weren't there previously.
Yes.
And I don't think any one stands alone to create a great campaign. So having an education around the benefits of a really strategic campaign and giving good value to that is really important, which is one of those changes. But I think the client expectations is actually probably one of the pointy end changes that we're experiencing.
In terms of what you see out there in the market, are you happy with the level of professionalism from the Harcourts team? Like, how do you, monitor and assess that?
Yeah, you're speaking to a cross your T's and dot your I's kind of lady.
I know.
So, look, I think honestly, it could always be better, but the rules that came in 2012, the code of conduct being reviewed at the moment through REINZ, and REA, those sorts of things, we are only going to get better and better. And we've had a wash of people who didn't want to get up to standard leave.
Yeah.
So that in itself is fantastic for our business. What we've also seen, though, is the different levels of study. Most people are actually there to do the right thing, and the business eats them up pretty quickly if they don't.
Yes.
So I think the rush of pleasing people is actually probably the biggest risk in our standards.
Yes.
And just making sure that a typical process, which is, lined out by the legislation, is followed. So a really decent appraisal, as one point.
Yes.
And we do work right from Selwyn through to WIMAC, and that means that there's a lot of different things to learn and know about our market. But the earthquakes helped us all pull our socks up because we really had to know a lot more about property.
Yeah, absolutely. And the insurances and mortgages and all of that, there's a lot higher level of skill required, isn't there? I mean, communication is key, right? It's the one area that, we can't do too much of. But what should buyers and sellers expect out of their real estate consultant?
Yeah, honesty is the number one, I think. Having evidence of the stories, the results, the things that they have actually asked for from their real estate agent at the beginning. Because when it comes into choosing a real estate agent, you've really got to align with the person that's there and what their desires to sell are. Because not everybody is at that, we've talked, price.
Yeah.
The strategy is the number one thing. So what they should expect is to have delivered to them what they were promised at the beginning, and to have it delivered often, bite-sized chunks, written format, and whichever way they are ready to receive it. Yeah. There's just so much in that, because in a good strategy, there's the marketing. So they need to make sure that the marketing's delivering the people to the open homes. If I was searching for an agent today, I'd still do it the same way I would have 15, 20 years ago probably. Yes. Go to an open home.
Yeah.
Go and meet them.
Yeah.
Make sure they ring you.
Yes. Good point.
It's
give them the right phone number, though, because some people do like to give us the wrong phone number.
People will give all sorts of curly things, and that's fine. They're not necessarily wishing for that call back. But if you're assessing a salesperson on whether or not you want to do business with them, if they're not calling the people and asking them on behalf of a vendor what they thought about the property, where they see it sitting in price, have they looked at anything else, then they're probably not in pulse with the market feedback that the vendor needs in order to get their sale.
And to make an informed decision, right?
Yeah. So that's probably part of that key honesty. Maybe they're saying it's 50 or 100 less than what the vendor wants. we need to hear that sometimes, and why is the important thing. It's not so much just giving figures out of thin air.
Yeah. Where do you see the real estate industry perhaps going in the next couple of years? Have you got any crystal ball?
Well, I wish I did have a crystal ball. Are we talking the market here locally, or are we talking for salespeople?
And salespeople.
Yeah, I think our market's on a steady up at the moment. We've had a lot of sort of resettling,
Yes.
and interest rates, that's been really a large chatter, LVRs, government changes. There's been so many external factors that people probably haven't taken time to understand,
Yes.
but they have been a bit afraid of.
Yeah.
So people, Tony Alexander's words, I think, stand in the shadows and they wait and watch. And in New Zealand, we don't like to talk about sheep so much, but sometimes we're a bit sheep-like in our market behaviour, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
And when the market goes crazy, everyone wants to be a part of it. And it's at the moment, I think there's some really savvy people out there that are making the market move at the moment.
Yeah.
Wonderful level of first-time buyer interest in properties, and they are doing the right thing by getting into the market.
Yes.
Then there's the investor interest, which we're seeing back.
Yeah.
And I think just those two things along, it's not going to be a straight line to the sky or anything like that, but pitter-patter, and I think we have a pretty good trajectory in the next few years.
What I love about the Christchurch marketplace is that, compared with other metropolitan cities, we still are very good value for money, aren't we? So
incredible value for money and safe compared to most metropolitan markets.
Yeah,
now,
we don't have that sort of bull and bear market.
Yeah,
do we?
and I sort of looking to touch wood on that one, that we remain safe, but the thing is we're more steady, and we always have been. We haven't had the extreme highs and lows. We have managed to develop property into other areas of Christchurch. Our city council's changed the planning when they've needed to in order to accommodate people for housing. And now we have a wee bit more of a hustle and bustle from other parts of New Zealand, just in the way that people are approaching not only their home life, but their work life, and actually being able to enjoy a
bit more balance.
Yeah, a more beautiful part of the country. Lisa, very biased.
And not huge commutes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jo, very much for your insights on our Canterbury marketplace.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, Lisa, for having me.